Welcome to the Hormone Hub, your go-to source for the conversations every woman in her 40s and 50s needs to have. I'm your host, Kylie Pinwill, your nutritionist helping you navigate your way through perimenopause, menopause and beyond so you can say goodbye to the endless fatigue, unexplained weight gain, hot flushes, PMS, mood changes and more that come on this hormonal roller coaster. If you missed the memo or think this is only for women of a certain age, ladies, it's time to think again. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you don't miss any of my latest episodes, which are released every week. Share it with your friends, your sweaty sisters. The more we talk, the more we help each other. Hello and welcome back to the Hormone Hub, ladies. It is great to have you here. Now, today we're going to jump in and talk about something a little controversial, being hormone replacement therapy, or as it's known now, MHT, which is Menopause Hormone Therapy. Now, I'm not going to talk about, whether you should take it or shouldn't take it. What I'm going to do is, I just want to give you the facts. So I want to clear up a few sort of myths that have been floating around, talk about the different types of MHT that's available to us and, when we should be taking what type. Because, as you've known, during that whole perimenopause, menopause journey, our hormones change. So therefore, doesn't it make sense that any sort of hormone therapy we're taking would match where we're at in our hormone journey? All right, so it's going to be a big one. So jump in and, I'd love if you've got questions, pop them in the Facebook group, send me an email because definitely, there's a lot that needs to be cleared up here. Okay, so is it good or is it bad? And as with health, the answer is always, it depends, okay? So the nature of menopause is our hormones are winding down. So, we're not going to be fertile and reproductive forever. So when it comes to menopause, 30% of women will go through, and this is perimenopause as well, they'll just sail through with no symptoms. So they're just going to wake up one day and just go, oh, wow, I haven't had a period for a while. Okay. No idea, or not no idea, but, no symptoms. So lucky for them. Then about 30% of us will have sort of mild symptoms. So we might have, hot flushes. We might have a bit of brain fog, a bit of forgetfulness, but, things aren't too bad and we can kind of, muddle our way through. Then the other 30% of women, the maths doesn't add up, I know. Well, they're going to experience like debilitating symptoms. So these are the symptoms that are going to impact their quality and, their day-to-day life. So, and it's specifically these women where, HRT can actually be of huge benefit because, in this day and age, it shouldn't be that we have to just suck it up with these, awful symptoms that impact our work, impact our family life, impact our relationships, impact the things that we enjoy. So what I want to do is, sort of go through that, what the options are for you. And either way, when I work with my clients, I support you with whatever you choose. So choosing to take menopause hormone therapy is a very personal decision. And certainly, what one woman experiences and her symptoms that she experiences are going to be very different to the next woman. And likewise, the therapies that you choose might work beautifully for one and not for everyone. So it's good to sort of bear that in mind, that we aren't a one size fits all. And, at the other end of the day too, there's no prize for being a martyr. You don't have to just suffer in silence. Surely those days are done. Okay. All right. So where does HRT get its bad rap? So what happened back in I think it was the 90s, they did a massive health study called the Women's Health Initiative. And in this study, they found that women who were on HRT had an increased sort of presentation of breast cancer. So what they did, so then the media got hold of that and just blew that up. But what, the actual sort of when we look at it now, the women were on, like quite high doses. There was only sort of one option available. So it was quite high doses of synthetic estrogen. Now, this estrogen was conjugated equine estrogen. So it came from horses. There was, lots of synthetic elements, but a few sort of, I guess, natural elements from, the urine of a horse mare, a pregnant mare. So you can imagine how potent those hormones would be. So that's kind of like what we were looking at. Now, bear in mind that study was, 20, 30 years ago. The form of HRT, there was only one available, so there was no options, and things have changed. And I think to the detriment of a lot of women, in the years following that, is they had to then put up with, these awful symptoms because they were too scared of getting breast cancer, which is fair enough. But what has happened, we've come a long way, and the types of hormone replacement therapy have changed a lot. So let's kind of like jump in and have a look at, what the options are. So what we use today, or what's commonly used today, is what we call an estradiol therapy. So this is a body identical estrogen, and it can come as a transdermal patch, or it can come as a cream. So because you're absorbing it into your skin, you've got less chance of, it going sort of through your body and, causing any side effects such as breast cancer. So it's a really low dose compared to what the women were taking 20, 30 years ago. Now, we've also got progesterone therapy, which is available to us, which wasn't an option for the ladies back then. Now, what we're looking at for when we're talking progesterone therapy is a actual progesterone, and it comes in the form of either a cream or what's known as oral micronized progesterone. So oral because it's in a capsule, and micronized because it's micronized particles. And, those two treatments together can be really effective. So where things kind of go astray is when, women are prescribed in the old style, so estrogen only. So this traditionally has been a blanket prescription for a woman, regardless of where you are in your menopause journey. So think about the nature of perimenopause. We've got, big surges of estrogen. Commonly it's, women in perimenopause do have high fluctuating levels of estrogen. So if we're layering in another hormone therapy, which is just estrogen, we're pouring more fuel on the fire. Okay, so that's not going to work for us. So, this is where those women will benefit from a combination of both, or even just progesterone alone. So, unfortunately, we've got the sort of double whammy is not all doctors are versed in what's available currently. So certainly, a lot of women I speak with have had conversations with their doctor and they've ended up with estrogen only. But what I want to do today is give you the facts and arm you with the knowledge of, what you can actually ask for, or what you can, talk to your doctor about what you think is appropriate for you. So it's giving you ownership back over your own health. Now, my experience was, back when I was in my early 40s, I'd had a Mirena in. It was my second Mirena. First Mirena went great, 5 years. Second Mirena, we were about 3 years into it. And just my body, I wasn't feeling great. So I had a good chat to my GP and we agreed to have my Mirena removed. So what happened next was I had to book in with, the dinosaur from the clinic because he was the only guy who did the removal of the Mirena. So he said to me, he goes, you'll be begging me, in a few weeks to have this put back in. And I'm just looking at him going, what? And he lost me right there. I'm like, I'm not begging you for anything, anytime ever. So then he went on to say that, he'd worked with thousands and thousands of women who swore by HRT and it was the best thing ever. And, I was in my early 40s at this stage. My GP and I had already had a great conversation. I was showing a lot of the signs and symptoms of perimenopause and specifically high levels of estrogen. So, giving me HRT was not what I wanted at that point in time. Like, I really wanted to clear my body out. But yeah, no, he gave me a prescription for the old style estrogen. So it was, if I'd actually taken that, it would have made things like 1,000 times worse. So, and what sort of really annoyed me about that whole experience was he didn't have the conversation. He had no idea how I felt. He wasn't interested in, the symptoms I was experiencing. He just didn't want to listen. And I felt really angry after that appointment. So yes, he took the Marina out, but just for him condescending and so, oh, you must do this. Thousands of women, being me. And I was just like, no, sorry, not happening. So, so how many women, one reason I was so angry was how many women after that, like who had been to see him or GPs like him, and were just then, according to him, there were thousands of them, they were left on their own with an inappropriate form of HRT, thinking, that was going to fix all their problems, when in fact it wasn't at all. So I think that's why I really want to have the conversation here. This Hormone Hub episode is sponsored by our free Hormone Help Call. On the call, we'll give you some clarity around what's causing your symptoms and the 3 simple steps you can start using straight away. If you're ready to take the next step and find out how we can help you, we can talk about that too. So if you're constantly feeling tired, struggling with weight gain, PMS, mood swings, bloating, not sleeping at night, cravings, anxiety, all the things, we're ready to help. If you're ready to ditch those sugar cravings, regain your energy and shift that stubborn weight, then let us help you balance your hormones, reset your metabolism and get your confidence back so you can live the life you're meant to. The link with the details to our Hormone Help Call is in our show notes or over at kyliepinwell.com. So while we're talking, synthetic, because a lot of women are sort of put on the pill who are still menstruating, are put on the pill, given a Mirena, given the implant as an option, or even like a depot injection. So what we're talking here is, these are the synthetic progesterones. So it's not actually progesterone at all, and they're called progestins. And these, progestins can have negative effects. So when it comes to mood, when it comes to like hair loss for some women, weight gain, it could be, we've all heard of women putting on weight when they go on the pill. So it's that, or when they get an IUD put in, it's that synthetic progesterone that's driving that, those negative side effects. So what we've got available to us is, like I said earlier, we've got the bioidentical progesterone and we've got bioidentical estrogen, which is, otherwise in the form of estradiol. So they're the two that are, relatively safe for us to use. They're in a far lower dose than they ever used to be. And what I've done, if you have a look over in the show notes, I've actually got a list of all the different brands of estradiol and progesterone that's available in Australia. So you can go and Australia and New Zealand. So you can go and you can have a chat to your GP and say, this is what I want. All right. So I just want to give a credit there, big shout out to Dr. Lara Bryden. So she's the author of the Hormone Repair Manual. So Lara is, I guess, a colleague, and, she's very much a guru in this space. So certainly, if you're, into the science of all of this, you want to totally geek it, I highlight a book, The Hormone Repair Manual. She is, incredible and has done an incredible amount of research and also provided like industry education for, practitioners such as me. So, and if you don't want to geek out, then, just listen to the podcast. Okay. So, fortunately, not offered, regularly blanket estrogen only high dose anymore. So what we've got available to us, is different options and different combinations. And what they've actually found is a lot of women do better on a combination of both progesterone and estrogen. So if you're in perimenopause and if you are sort of experiencing, you've got the low progesterone, you've got high fluctuating estrogen, you're experiencing might be hot flushes, night sweats, insomnia, migraines, heavy flow, a reduced ability to cope with stress. This is where, progesterone only is a really good approach for you, either as a cream or, symptoms are mild, definitely a cream. And if you're a bit stronger, then certainly capsules, those oral micronized progesterone capsules, certainly the better, stronger treatment for heavy periods and also insomnia as well. So just a word on testing for hormones. So if you're still having a cycle and your hormones are still fluctuating day to day, so it's unlikely to be able to compare before and after because, your hormones are fluctuating day to day. So blood tests generally aren't, the way to go because we can't get that definitive measure. So I always go on signs and symptoms, and I get ladies to rate their signs and symptoms out of 10. And what I'll do is I'll actually put also in the show notes a list of those signs and symptoms. So you can go in and you can have a look at what's going on there. All right. So if you're still cycling, you would definitely benefit, or, definitely an option for you is progesterone only. Okay. So if you have been through menopause, you haven't had a menstrual cycle for a year and you are having symptoms, then a progesterone plus an estrogen therapy could, work for you. Then if you are, particularly if you're experiencing flushes, vaginal dryness, these all respond beautifully to, a of progesterone as well as, the estrogen, together with that. So, so I hope that sort of helps. So you've got, just to recap, you've got the two different types. You've got progesterone and you've got estradiol. So they're our body identical hormones. And then the ones that we want to stay away from are progestins, not stay away from, but, that aren't going to be as effective as a hormone therapy is progestins and your conjugated estrogen. So obviously, this is a really personal decision, clearly. If you've had personal or family history of breast cancer, you've probably already been recommended to avoid estrogen therapy. Also, too, if you've had heart disease, uncontrolled blood pressure, liver disease, history of clotting, also, too, you might be recommended to avoid estrogen, but it's still, the research shows it's still safe for you to take progesterone. If you've entered like menopause naturally after the age of 45 and you've got really no symptoms, then there's probably no need for you to take, any form of hormone therapy. So, and this again is different for every single woman. So in terms of research, the recommendations are constantly being updated. So at the moment, they're sort of suggesting that 5 years is enough. You don't really need to take it anything beyond 5 years. And if you've undergone, a surgical or a medically induced menopause, so a hysterectomy, particularly before the age of 45, there's a really case for taking estrogen plus progesterone to prevent diseases such as osteoporosis, heart disease, diabetes. You've lost that protectiveness of estrogen. So certainly, if you've gone into early menopause, it's indicated that, the hormone therapy could be beneficial for you. Okay. And again, if you're 10 years past menopause, it really is no point you commencing any kind of therapy because, you've gone through that natural life stage and there's really no need. Okay. So things to be sort of aware of. And, this is where we want to find out the type of hormone therapy right for you and is the dose right? If it is, you should be feeling good and it shouldn't cause any side effects. And if it does cause side effects, check in with your doctor. You know how things are how your body feels. But check in with your doctor. Is the dose too high? Are you taking the body identical estradiol and progesterone? Were you taking just estrogen on its own? Do you need to layer in some progesterone on top of that? Now that you know it's okay to have progesterone as well. And it's also important to know that, this isn't set in stone. You can always try hormone therapy. And if it's not right for you, you can absolutely 100% change your mind. Now, a lot of women come to me and they want to know, I want to do it naturally. I don't want, hormone replacement therapy. And, that is totally fine too. It's it everyone else, and you get to choose. So even if you are or you aren't, regardless, there are things you can do to support your body with diet and lifestyle. So lots of women, like I said, want to do it. So things like managing your stress, supporting your nervous system, regulating your blood sugar to avoid insulin resistance. We want to support thyroid. We want to look after your gut function, your digestion. If you've got bloating, constipation, we need to get on top of that. We want to make sure your liver and your detox pathways are working well. And this is important for clearing and regulating your hormones. We want to have a look at minimizing your alcohol, caffeine and nicotine. Alcohol is a risk factor for breast cancer. So we sort of look at the HRT, and a lot of women, that's their reason for not wanting to take it. But if you're having more than 1 to 2 drinks, 1 to 2 nights a week, then, sort of change your drinking habits for sure. And then also it's good to make sure you get enough sleep and include phytoestrogens in your diet. So these are things like organic soy, flaxseed or linseeds in the form of the actual seeds or oils, beans, legumes, all of those good things. So they can help by blocking your body's uptake of estrogen, and also they can help clear it as well. So they sort of have that beautiful dual function. All right, so I hope that helps. I hope we've sort of cleared up a few myths, and now that you know that, what's safe, what's not. So certainly, look for, if this is a pathway you want to go down, you want to have a look for body identical hormones or hormone therapy. And you also want to have a look at, do you need progesterone only? Do you need a combination of progesterone, estrogen, or is it just estrogen you need? So they're the things to go and have a conversation with your doctor about. And if you have any questions, like I said, I would love to answer them for you. So shoot me an email, or certainly join us over in the Hormone Hub Facebook group. Okay, thanks everyone, and I will see you next week. Thank you for taking the time to listen today. You can head on over to the show notes at kyliepinwell.com/podcast, where you'll find all the links, and I have a little bonus surprise waiting for you. Before we go, it would mean the world to me if you head on over to your favourite podcasts channel, subscribe and leave a review. Make sure to screenshot it, DM it to me so I can thank you personally. Then stay tuned for next week's episode. Can't wait to see you then.